Tom reached out to me. I haven't seen Tom in quite a while.
I don't know, what, 20 years, 30 years?
Well, I mean, I would see you at the BMI Awards, and we'd say hi.
Yeah, that's been 20 years for me.
Yeah. So, yeah, but you know, we had a time. There was a time where we worked together a lot.
Yes.
And you know, as you know, Tom was integrally involved with Michael and Quincy, and he reached out because he saw one of our videos about the intro sound on Beat It, and said, "Well, you got it half right." And then he was very nice, and he didn't say anything else too mean. And he likes what we're doing, but he's here, and it's so generous of him to be here. But this segment, we really have an opportunity to hear the whole story from the person who really made it happen. When I say made it happen, I mean brought the Synclavier to Quincy and to Michael, and you know, basically introduced them to a whole new sound, which really evolved heavily when it got through Bad, and then way more in Michael's later things. So it's all because of Tom, and he's going to tell you from start to finish what happened, how he brought the Synclavier into the picture, and what happened in the room, and some things I don't even know. Like, we've reserved that I'm going to hear it for the first time, like when Beat It was happening.
Thank you. I kind of want to take a tangential thing, but maybe we should go ahead. But I just want to thank you because I love this whole process that we're doing. Is I've known you for many, many years, and what we're about to get into is the same thing, is that Don Dorsey, who introduced me to Synclavier. So Don invites me out to his place, and he says, "Oh, I got to show you something." And he pushes a button. He says, "Play anything." And I played it, and then he pushed another button, and he played it, and this thing plays back to me. And I went, "What? What?"
Yeah.
He said, "It's a sequencer." I said, "Yeah, I think I've heard of those, but nothing like this." And he said, "Well, this is a Synclavier, and I think that it's going to be your friend." Well, the one thing I was telling him, I said, "I love the Synclavier, but to have somebody come and hear it,
Yeah.
you either have to bring it to them or they come to that. It's hard to market something like that. Maybe if you did an album," and they did, and he sent me, you know, the album, and it was wonderful. I said, "Send me a dozen of them."
The Blue album that Denny Yeager,
Yes.
Pat Gleason's on it, and Bill Keenan.
Well, I didn't know who the guys were.
Those
All
are the
I knew
artists on the album that made
Oh, okay,
sounds, and Pat did like a portion of the seasons, Vivaldi's seasons on Synclavier.
Okay.
Because he had an album out and he let them play some excerpts. It was a demonstration album.
Well, that's the point. At that point, I was thinking marketing rather than who did what. But I heard it, and I went, yeah, this is a great demonstration of the instrument.
Yep.
And you can just send, I said, "So send me a dozen of them." So I sent one to Quincy, sent one to Michael, and I can't remember, a number of my friends. Quincy, you know, is raving about it. I get a call from Michael. Michael says, "Oh, I love this. I love this. This is amazing, especially side 2, cut 3. It's called a gong." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Can you make that sound?" I said, "What I love about the Synclavier is I don't have to think about the instrument. It's not driving me. I just audition sounds and say that one, that one, that one, that one, that one." That's what I loved about it. Plus the fact that you have the
Sequencer.
The sequencer.
Yeah.
So anyway, Michael says, "Can you do?" I said, "Yeah, man. All you do is push a button." He said, "Can you tell me where I can get one?" And I said, "Well, I have one." And he said, "Oh, would you bring it to the studio?" I said, "Yeah." So we're at Westlake, and we were in A, I think, and so I have it brought in because then had to be shipped in and connected and all of that stuff. It was not easy to move around. You didn't put it in your pocket like our iPhones. And
No.
so anyway, we go in there. Michael, because Michael called. That didn't happen all at the same time. He called me later and he said, "Hey man, can you get me a Synclavier? Because I just wrote a song and I want to use that sound." And I said, "Yeah, we can bring it down." So anyway, we brought it down, and
To Westlake.
Sweden, to A, he hooks it up to the system, and Michael's there.
Who else is there?
Just Michael
You-
and Bruce
you?
and me. The three of us.
Not Quincy.
No, Quincy didn't need to be there. You know, I love that with Quincy. He and I had I was never replacing him, but there were times where he could be doing something else. Yeah. And his wasn't going to have anything to do with it. Besides, he's going to listen to it later and say, redo it or fix it or whatever, you know? But anyway, no, the three of us were in the booth. And so we wired it up, and and Michael says, I can't wait to hear it, man. So I play it, and he goes, that's different. Bruce and I look at each other, and we said, well, see, that's Gong. That's Gong.
It's a factory preset.
Yeah. Yeah, you just hit a button. Play it again. And he said he also liked whatever was being played on the record. He said, I'd like to use that, you know? And I didn't think about anything I just, you know, whatever, it was a demonstration. So anyway, so I play it again, and I play the notes that he wanted to hear. He says, it's different. And he said that so many times. I never heard him say, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's wrong. I never heard those words out of his mouth. It's different, which is the truth. That's what I loved about Michael. Michael explained, Quincy does it too, explains it in a way that is the truth. And you get the idea of what it means. And so Bruce is going, and Michael says, yeah, they're recording here. Yeah, so it's up on the turntable, he plays it, and Michael says, that's it. That's the sound. And Bruce and I are like, it's the same sound. And then finally Bruce goes, okay, out. You know, that I love when Bruce did that with mix, out.
So you and Michael left.
Michael and I went into whatever's and to the next room. And
okay.
And then about 20 minutes later, Bruce comes in and he said, now go to the Synclavier and play that. And I play it, and Michael said, that's it. That's it. Oh. And I'm thinking, what's it? It's the same sound. And then Bruce said, and he says, how did you do that, Bruce? And he said, well, you're playing a vinyl that's been, you know,
right.
All the things that they do to it goes through a lot of different filters. Yeah. And I just mimicked those filters.
Of vinyl.
Off the vinyl.
And maybe a little reverb or whatever he had to do.
No reverb. Whatever whatever was on that album.
It might have been on
exactly.
there.
Don't know what was on there.
It's a sound by Denny Yeager. He made the preset. And Denny's known for doing all kinds of tricks. He's a great musician, great engineer, and great programmer, all in one person.
Yes.
So, you know, Bruce could hear all that, and he was recreating what was on the vinyl.
And he knew how to filter that.
Yeah.
Coming out of because this was Virgin, and this was been dated for a while.
You got a raw sound, too. There's like
exactly.
no love on the thing.
Exactly. So there we go. So he is happy as he could be.
And who played it?
I did, but I mean, how hard is it to play? Boom, boom. You know, boom.
Is it always about how hard something is to play?
But you know what they put? No. But I'm just saying that my 5-year-old could have played that. If you play it for him once, and he would have done it. But what I loved about it is they put me on as a musician, and so I'm on the Thriller album. You know, just because of that, and even get residual. I mean, you know what it's like when you're been on a crazy. It's biggest album ever.
It was top 10 this year.
Again?
In the 40th anniversary release, the album made it into the top 10.
It's like Beethoven's Ninth, man.
It keeps...
You know, it just keeps coming back.
It regenerates itself. It's still relevant.
So that was great. And then, because I was kind of hanging around, Michael says, I like the snare on 2, but I want a different snare sound on 4.
Now you're moving to the other sounds on Beat It.
Yeah, it's once the rhythm starts, because it starts with the Synclavier, and then it starts with the drum.
But
and it's all electronic.
Before
drums.
you move to the drum sound, though, was there anything that was concerning you about playing the same notes as on the vinyl?
I never even thought about that. It was, besides, it's not my job. I wasn't associate producer on that. I was just doing a job for them. And
Yeah,
he said,
they
I
wanted
want
that.
Can you play those same notes? I went, yeah, sure. It's not something that I'm going to ever be responsible
Yeah.
for. Nor it didn't even enter my mind, because what I was hearing was a demo record. I didn't think that there was any copyright
Right.
involved.
Okay.
And so yeah, it never entered my mind until I saw it, your talk the other day. I went, whoa.
Well, we don't know what happened, you know, who talked to whom, and if it's copyrightable. I mean, apparently back then, you know, copyright laws have changed to intent now. At one point, it was 7 notes, you know, and that does happen to have 7 notes.
Yeah, then
and
there's
I don't
2
know
measures and
what was ever worked out with
Yeah.
Denny.
Well, you know what I do know?
You know, I
that
don't know.
later on, Michael and Denny worked a lot.
They worked together.
Later.
Yeah, so they must have sorted
if Denny
it out.
was pissed off, and you know what? If you came to Michael and said, "Hey," he would say, "I'll fix that." I swear to God, he would.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted to hear from you, like what
Yeah.
your take on it is, because you're the next source we have for that.
Absolutely. And no, there was no intention whatsoever of using somebody else's music. If I would have thought that that was the case, you know, then I would say, well, we need to credit that.
Oh, so you might have said something.
Oh, but the point is, the first time I ever considered that in 30, 40 years was when the guy that you were talking with the other day said, you know, and he used Jet and he didn't get paid for it. And I went, whoa, where did that come from? That was really what got my attention, because there was no intent. And I am quite sure that Michael, everything that I've ever done, with Michael, was fairness and what's right. It was never about, oh, I got to take this and this is mine. And, you know, never. That's why it was such a shock to me when he said Denny wasn't paid for this. And I thought, wow. And it didn't occur to Quincy either. And Quincy knew where it came from, because he had the same album, you know. Down, 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 ka-chung, 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 you know. Well, where I went next was that Michael says, I want a different snare on the 4th beat. Mm-hmm. So we had SIR.
That's a studio instrument rentals company.
Now we're doing the album at that time, and I'm not a producer on it, but quite often I was just hanging out. I was there anyway. And we start auditioning snares. And did it for about 3 weeks. And because you're in the studio 8 to 10 hours a day, it's not the only thing we were doing, because they'd work a while on this and then go to the next tune and pick it up on that. And they're auditioning snares. And this is, again, where I noticed something about Michael that I've never heard from anybody else. He'd say, okay, play that one, please. Maybe go to the next one, please. Next one. Mark that one. Next one. Next one. And they've got them all lined up and mic'd and everything, you know. And I think, this guy never says that's not it. Everything he says is positive. It's all moving forward. Because as soon as we say stop, we break the heartbeat.
The flow of it, yeah, because he's in the flow.
So
that's it.
So he's going on, and now I'm interested, and I'm coming to the studio. And they're doing something, I can't remember the tune, but he wanted a Gran Casa,
which is a big giant concert
it's the first
bass drum.
It's the first subwoofer
that when you play it in an orchestra, you know, you hear that big boom. And basically, when the engineer sets levels of an orchestra recording, they have to set it to the low frequency of the bass drum. And then everything else, even the brass, everything else has to come down from there. So just putting it in context,
Absolutely.
How big of a sound a Gran Casa or a concert bass drum is.
And if you're in the audience, in the back row, in an orchestra, you feel that.
You do, yeah.
It moves the air in the entire building. So anyway, it took 2 guys to bring it in from SIR.
Studio Instrument Rentals.
Yeah, and it's that real thin material. There's a name for it, but it's not plastic. It's actually made out of cardboard.
Fiberglass, weren't they?
Well, no, it wasn't fiberglass, but it was whatever.
Yeah, they're drum cases.
Yeah, it's a huge, and it took 2 people to bring this Grand Cosse in, because it's maybe 5-6 feet tall, huge. And so they're unwrapping it, and they're in the small room, the Studio A. There's a big room, and there's a small room over to the side. I think it's a vocal booth or something. And we're doing a lot of things in the studio, but they're unwrapping this thing, and they're lifting the top off, which is rather big, and it's the same, so they set it down, and it falls, it kind of falls against a bookcase.
The big trap case, right?
Yeah. So I mean, the top is the top of the trap case, and it just kind of runs into the bookcase, and at the top of the book is a screwdriver, just happens to be up there, and we're all talking. Nobody's recording. This was just going on, and suddenly we hear a thud, and it turns out that as the screwdriver fell down onto the top of the roof of the case. And Michael goes, "That's it! That's it! That's the sound! How did you do that? What is that?" The guy said, we didn't do anything. The screwdriver just fell." He says, "Do it again! Do it again! That's it!" And that became the sound of the 4th beat. And he loved it so much that on the credits, on the Thriller album, on the credits for Beat It, it says drum case Michael Jackson.
And it was one giant Grand Cosse empty case.
Yes,
Did he
and
hit it
the
with-
top of the case, not the bottom, because the bottom, the drum was still in it.
Oh, so it still had the drum in it.
Yeah.
And with a screwdriver?
Yeah, it was just a
No,
screwdriver.
but was he hitting it with a screwdriver?
No, I think he hit it, if I recall, I can't be positive about this, but I think he may have actually had a wood, kind of like just a 2x4
Yeah,
something.
that's because the first day I showed up to do any work on Thriller, and for this video's sake, I was there because Tom recommended Brian Banks and I to work on the album.
Yeah.
And so first day I'm there, I'm setting up in B, and they said, well, you'll meet Michael. He's in A, and he's working on this song called Beat It, and he's hitting drum cases. And they're going, yeah, he does stuff that's really unusual. And I heard it through the walls, and I could hear it, and that's a studio. And then the door would open up every once in a while, like, oh my gosh, layers. But I didn't know what exactly it was. I didn't know it was like a Grand Cosse, or I thought maybe it was drum cases. But I looked in there, and I saw big 2x4, and I saw some drumsticks. So I don't know if he was trying out other things.
He may have tried different things, but you know what I loved about Michael? Michael heard it in his head first, and he was looking for the physical.
Well, that's how you write songs, and that's how you said Burt Bacharach writes songs.
That's very true.
You guys open it up to, this was in a different video, but opening it up to the universe, not locking it into the piano or the guitar or the DAW.
Exactly.
Like, the song exists in the universe, so we're going to just tap into the whole darn thing.
We spent weeks looking for a snare sound. And then all of a sudden it was a drum case. But the point is, he got what he wanted. But what really, at that moment, it blew me away, because he wasn't anywhere close to that thing. In fact, I think he was in the booth.
Oh.
And they may have had some, it was either leaking in or the door was open, and he heard it through all of that stuff in the middle of a conversation. That's it. That's how in tune he was when he was looking for something.
Relentless, right?
Relentless.
But also allowing time to be a part of the process.
Absolutely. Patient. I never heard him speak louder than this. Ever. Ever. And there's a recording I'm going to find out of a meeting that we were having with him about a song, and he said, "This is where I want the chorus to come in." And he's talking about, it's like fresh, like flowers and clouds. And I mean, he's explaining the whole thing.
Imagery.
And you somehow know what to write from that. You know?
Yeah, and Quincy spoke the same way in colors.
That's the point. It's never one thing.
Yeah.
Never one thing.
And we'll get into that. We're gonna move on to We Are the World, and
Great.
that was also described in colors. Please like and subscribe our videos. That's really all we need from you guys. We want to keep making them. It's amazing for me to be a vessel for someone like Tom to relay these stories. So hopefully that you continue to enjoy them.
Well, perhaps this is a good time for me to say how grateful I am that to get to know you on this level, because I've known you for many years, always admired you. But now working with you, I feel our connection is so strong. You know?
Well, thank you. This is a different thing because this is like we're rounding things up and we're turning them into stories, but there are experiences and we're sharing that. It just happened, you know, because we worked together.
Yes, we did.
But now it's just concepts that have, I don't know, it's the part of it that's a part of us.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here.
It's a thrill to me.